Hi, this is Michael from the Undiscovered Worlds podcast. Today's episode, we'll be talking about roguelikes and roguelites. Fast paced, infinite possibilities, high dopamine. Roguelikes and roguelites everywhere right now in this atmosphere, studios for years as well. We're going to be talking about indies, the studios. So there's some of the small ones that go all the way up to make breakthroughs, millions of copies are sold with that is in genre. Everyone enjoys the one play, one run game, replay moments, and so on from that. We'll be also introducing my mission campaign that we love indie, a bit more talking about that as well. This podcast is more talking about discovering games that most studios don't get more of the light on. So that is the purpose of the mission. It is proven that roguelikes don't need a massive budget to make a good turnaround and make the game really fun. It doesn't need a big, massive budget compared to some other games. It doesn't need a form of millions of funding either. What is a roguelike and a roguelite? That's a bit hard to say sometimes. That it is procedurally generated areas in where you play. It's always different. There's no anything that's new, different items, different runs, different starts. So runs reset after you can finish a run, or when you die, game over, you have to do a new run. Randomized upgrades, you don't know what you're going to get on the upgrades. You don't know what you're going to get on the shops. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what enemies you're going to come across. And it's a bit of a mixed bag of it, where there is some skill and some luck that is a combination of it as well. Like, this run, I've got a terrible item and not going so well. It might be a bit hard to challenge at the start, but then sometimes you might have a good items, have some good artifacts, some good character-based stats for this run, and you might go further than last time. However, if you're really good in playing that game as well, that you might actually last longer, even though you didn't have a great start on the run either, because you know how to flip it around because you've played it so many times that you've mastered the concept of the patterns of this roguelike and really enjoy it, and you know it from backbone because you just love the concept of it. So roguelikes are a full reset. There is minimum, not a lot of meta progression, which is like, so alteration your run. And like if you have a set run and then after the run you don't have like increase your health or increase the base damage or different items. So changing the character to help with your runs further on. That's really meta progression, is more not a roguelite thing. It's jump in, get all your stuff in that run to continue journeying on to the next levels and so on. Roguelite is permanent upgrades compared to roguelite, unlocks and progression. So it's a little bit different in that way. So you got meta progression where you've got your permanent upgrades. So your character will start with so many stuff, you upgrade it, you have better buffs for the run to be easier for you as time goes on as well. And go from there. So big examples for these are well known in the industry. Hades 1 and 2, Dead Cells, Binding of Isaac, and Rebirth, Vampire Survivors. But we all know these titles, but I would like to just dive a little bit deeper beyond this with other titles that are in the genre as well. There is different types of roguelites out there in this genre. and we'll talk about some of them just briefly of what type of genres that are out there so you can look and explore and see what it starts in. Dungeon crawler roguelikes. This is some of the games out there. You got Splunky, Enter the Gungeon, Crypt of Neuro Dancer, Moonlighter. So all them really have dungeon crawl aspects, which is like tight spaces, builds and makes tension for you. Every room that you enter might feel a bit risky. Try, and you don't know what room you're going to explore, and it might be a big room, a small room, a compact room with a lot of enemies. It's a lot going on in that way. Dungeon crawlers would have modular top rooms, so for easy procedurated areas where the rooms can join onto each other, and it's always different every run because there's multiple combinations and it's a randomizer, and they would all have tiles that have been made, but it was for like 50 tiles be made, but there's probably hundreds of combinations of the way that level could be designed, different layouts, and so on. So the other one we've got written down, for example, is the action roguelikes. Hades, Dead Cells, Skull, the Hero Slayer, and Warm Snow, where these are really more of immediate feedback, combat, playing based. You really got to understand the mechanics of the combat system and really get feel of the combat in this way. I would say it's easy to try and do the runs. However, if you want to be able to fully master how to do the levels and stuff, it really comes to the skill level of how well you could last, use the items, understand the mechanics, understand the patterns, and so on from there. So it's more of like, you know what you're expecting, you know what items do what, you know what combinations work best, and it's more of a pattern, enemy-based skill level, but there's also a bit of luck with items as well in that way. So other one we will be talking about is bullet hell / survival roguelikes. So out of them, we've got Vampire Survivors, Bro Potato, Soul Stone Survivors, Hell of Torment. These most of the time explode on internet, socials, because they are like numbers, big screen, really like hitting the dopamine and really exploring what upgrades really gets the most damage, and it's just big on that way. Like I said, huge numbers, lots of chaos on the screens. There's lots of bullet heavens, just fast paced, lots of everywhere, bullets, spells, weapons, no matter what. It's just a lot going on the screen, and it really hits hard when it comes to the dopamine effect on this genre of types of roguelikes and roguelites as well. It is very simple to play these types of genre, the bullet heaven ones, bullet heaven, yeah. But the builds can be really in depth and really considering like what combinations do well in that way. These are perfect examples of why indie studios might make a game like this as well, because the systems are quite simple and very easy to wrap around your head about, and the minimalism art style requirements in that is very simple, that players aren't really expecting like masterpiece pieces of the game work, having graphics like high resolution, that they're more just most of the time pixelated art form 2D games, which people are really happy with. Like, it gets the message across, it looks pretty, it's not over the top, and it really makes them be able to make a lot of content in that way, because you have, let's say you make 50 items of content, but there's multiple ways having different abilities, different ways of using them, infinite impossibilities of where to go through here, and things will expand from that as well. Another genre for roguelikes and roguelites are your deck builder ones. So you've got playing cards, you've got deck cards to play with. So the ones we've got examples for, so we've got down the Slay the Spire 1 and 2's coming out this year, which will be very exciting to have to play. And we've got Monster Train 1 and 2, which 2 came out last year, across the Obelisk and Grief lands. So these do hit different with the dopamine effect. The brain still gets the dopamine effect with deck builders, because it's like we play the cards and see what happens, see the max amount of things where it goes on. It's more of a turn-based play down cards, see what happens, where the other one with Bullet Heaven, it's playing, doing it, which most of the time they're not turn-based at all compared to this, where it's not on the interaction or reflection of moving the character, it's playing the cards and seeing like the boom, 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 boom. And there's a lot of high time to replay it and enjoy different builds, different ways of playing it, exploring what cards works best. The system to develop them isn't so complicated as well. You've got turn-based action cards, and you've made cards and decks for them, and the player will have to use them as well. So it's quite simple of considering for indie studios to try and make a game like this as well, where the systems don't feel so complicated and over the top for you. Another talking point is ones that like to do a little bit outside the genre box, like ones that want to stand out of the crowd, make their own concept-driven roguelikes, experiment, and try to really push themselves out there, because it's like, we have tried this, we're doing something a bit different compared to the set genres out there with roguelikes and roguelites as well. So we've got Inscription, which is a black card-based odyssey that blends the deck building roguelikes, escape rooms, solving puzzles in first person, a psychological horror into a blood leery smooth. The dark still is the secret that is part of the cards. Really just a mix of genres to build up the feeling of roguelikes. You've got puzzles, you've got roguelikes, you've got deck builders, you've got the horror aspects, you've got a bit of storytelling as well. So they've mixed it all up in their way of interpreting it, and they've made their own type of way to deliver it. And it does well. It really has in that way. So this is a good example of indie studios deciding to blend genres all into a different way to interpret the way they would like their game to know it. Know It is a magic roguelike. No, It is a magic action roguelike where every pixel is simulated. Every pixel is alive. Every pixel has its physics. It's like, in that way, it will affect you if you explore, you're fighting, you try and defeat an enemy and you miss, the terrain will be affected by the pixels and your spells and damages, and your casting can also hurt you as well, so you gotta be careful. And this melt, you can be frozen, you can be acid, you can be burnt, and it really pushes that way, and it's not easy to play. There's a lot of moments where you will be rage quitting and dying because of this one mechanic in that game. I think it's a really cool mechanic, but it's not an easy mechanic to master. So the worlds are procedurally generated, and with that as well, the game is also, you've got wands and you've got items, and you can work out the ways that the wands have been cast. So you can add the items in the slot bars of the wands, and to see different ways of building, different ways of casting your spells with these wands. So you can have a handful of wands and you have different casting, and you can change up. So you're really building your own way of how to defeat enemies and explore the world. And it's very big to explore. You can go left, right, all the way down. There's a lot of hidden things in that way. I definitely would think this is one to also check out if you're just that type of person that really thinks you're just a bit good at roguelike and you want to test something that's really tests your limit. I reckon this one's a good one to see if you can do it. All right. I would recommend it to really test that gamer knowledge of yours. So we've got Caves of Quad, which is a deep simulation, pure indie-inspired game. Been in the works for a very long time, but it's fully released now. It is inhabited a deep simulation science fantasy world and chiseled through the lands of thousands of years of civilization. Build a character from hundreds of mutations and cybernetics. It is a roguelike sandbox, fully rich with lore and items and quests to do. Every world you generate and you run, it is different. You have different things, new lore gets made. So it is a very deep, big roguelike RPG. It is very intense with, like, if you die, you'll have to restart again. But there's a different setting as well where you have checkpoints. But if you're really hardcore, you could do the main one, which is got one character, try and play the whole campaign, the story, the mission, that whatever gets generated on your run to complete it without dying. I wouldn't say it would be easy or hard, but I think it would be a bit of a challenge in that way as well, because I think very in-depth in that way. And the lore of this game as well is very incredible, because every item has its own little description. Every little detail has that as well. The art style of the game is not very appealing for most people, but you got to consider that sometimes the art style is not what it's made for the game. Like, it's a turn-based game. There's a lot going on. Like, if they had a bit more intense visuals, it'd be a lot harder for them to have this turn-based system work effectively. They've got a text bit on the side with the map of your character moving to show you what's going on as well, so you don't feel so lost. But it is very overwhelming watching a bit of gameplay of this. It is very intense, but I've heard the soundtrack is very good for this game as well. It's very particular of that way. They have got a lot of award-winning titles. Check them. As you can see that stuff on Steam. So I think if you would like something a little bit different with roguelikes and roguelite in that way, I think you would check this out if you're wanting a bit of a hardcore RPG styled way of going about it. So we've got another one, Dungeon Claw, which is a roguelike. You go through dungeons and you've got a claw machine to drop down, pick up your items and put it into your character and feed it and do the buffs that you need for that run to defeat the enemies. So it's a deck builder roguelike, but with the mechanic of a claw machine. So your deck cards will all be in the claw machine component where you go in, you drop down and you see what you pick up and drop down. They get used for your turn. So it's a turn-based as well with deck builder elements. It is still in early access, but it's still quite a good title to check out. It's got a lot of stuff that has been added over the time as well with updates and that. And I think it's something to check out, just that cool mechanic idea of a claw machine being your mechanic to try and defeat your enemies and your bosses and get through the runs. Because it's like, well, you know how claw machines are. They're like, oh, go down and try and grab it and pick it up. And it's like, it's not going to happen and it's not going well. And it's like, oh, shit. So I think that's also a little bit of skill, maybe, but I think it's also with the luck with how well you get your claw down as well. I think that's a good one to also check out, just to give these indie studios a bit of a support for the ones that really just try and do something a little bit different compared to all the other ones. There's probably thousands of games just for one genre of different roguelikes, but there are some that just do a little bit different and stand out. So in this way, them doing that really makes them show that they are taking risks. I don't know if this idea that they're trying to work on is going to work. They don't know if it's going to pay off. And some have paid off with doing the risks. And this really gives them the space that they think these ideas that they come up with, some people might think it's weird. Some people might think, well, that's a weird idea. That's a silly concept at the start. But then when they start working out, start playing it, it's like actually really works and actually really enjoy it. And it really does thrive from here. And the thing is with indie studios, with this as well, failure is really a part of their fun and exploring. They might just keep trying different ways of different mechanics in this area, and they might find something that might actually work and might resonate with them, and they will feel like, oh, well, this is being fun. Failure is good in that way because now I know what I need to do to make this work. So there is lots of different roguelikes and roguelites out there. There's a full-on galaxy of worlds to explore. We've come across of some, so I invite you to jump on your own rocket ship, go out there, go explore the different genres of these areas, and really support the indie community in this way because there is over thousands of these titles out there, and I really think they put out the work, they try their best, and some of these titles don't even get recognized out there. So I really suggest you just jump on Steam or YouTube, see what's out there, and go from there. Try and find some titles that you don't see. Really go really digging or really shoot in a whole different direction on your rocket ship in a different part of the galaxy of this industry. Why is this perfect for roguelikes and developers? It really shows that it is a small level of understanding just a fundamental mechanics. It's not a big system like RPG, got to have all this mad story written up, all this concept already done, all these different modules, all these models, I should say, sorry, and explore that as well. Like the concept of it fundamentally, just from a fundamental point of view, is small, but doesn't mean it can't be very diverse in that way as well. So you've got one core loop instead of different narratives. I said, like, there is not a lot of narrative thought to this as well. It is not as complicated. There could be some story, some lore about it as well, but it doesn't have to be like so intense. The indie developers, when they build the content of their game and the items and stuff like that, it really emphasizes the madness of the combinations out there is really something to explore as well. There's only like they only need a handful of items, but there's a lot of combinations out there. It's like having factorial numbers, really. So there's a lot of replay moments because of this as well, where you've got basically one enemy, but you've got so many different so you got so many different modifiers out there, like 10, but there's a lot of replay moments with the volume of content out there. So you've got one enemy, you've got 10 different modifiers or weapons, whatever you would like to call them, but then you've got 5 slots or 4 slots, 3 slots, but there's, let's say, over 50 different ways of combinations out there to see how you can tackle the enemy, destroy the enemy, use ways to avoid it. There's a lot of replay moments about that. You really handcraft your play style to really reflect the randomizer of what you're going to get out there, what items you're going to get next, and you really explore that way as well. It is really friendly for early access titles. It is a good example for helping indies developers fund their game over time. If they make a demo or put it in early access, they cannot have so much content out there, but still get funded for a little bit of time so they can keep putting more content into their game. They also can use the community to see what support they are getting back as well. So they don't need to fully release the game from get-go. Steam really helps with early access titles as well. Players really accept titles in this genre for early access. As I was saying with it, it's really market friendly as well. Advantages like Steam is very friendly to this genre and indie developers as well. And marketing it is very simple. It's one run, different opportunities, really repay moments. There's lots of different clips. Look at this cool synergy I've got. Look at this cool combination I've got. Look at, this madness. And it's clipping, and posting. And people have big moments in these game titles. And that, like, roguelikes don't need more content. They don't need a big band full of content. They just really need good systems and fun play experience in that way. It hits well. It really does. Binding of Isaac, it was one of my first roguelikes that I truly played, and that really fun. And the different synergies and the different combinations out there was really fun. Like I said, it really pushes the dopamine. It really pushes the time to replay it as well, and pushes the power of the fantasies of the different ways you can go out there. It is fast. It can ramp up very quickly when you've got strong power, strong builds. You can see big numbers. and it makes you feel so powerful and strong and mighty. And short sessions, sometimes they're not so long. Some are very long, but there are some roguelikes that only 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes runs, but there are some that are hour runs. But the ones that are short, like 30 minutes, 15, 20 minutes runs, is really good for people like myself that are adults wanting to fit a session in for gaming. If you're a dad like me and you don't have long and you just want to play for half an hour, you probably could do one run and see how long you last. And there are some roguelikes that you can save your own, come back to, but like you don't feel like you didn't get anywhere. You're just doing a run. And it's just fun in that way. It doesn't feel like you have to sit down and play for hours to get just a little bit in head of the story. No, you're doing a run, and it might only take half an hour, 45 minutes, not even 20 minutes. I don't know. It depends on when you die or how quick you got through the run. And the thing is with dying in these genres, it's not really failing and doesn't make you feel bad. It's like, now I understand how this works. Now I understand how this mechanic works. So you actually really just learning the game through dying, your failures, your wrong decisions as well. Good examples of the dopamine effect is the big ones. We'll use those because everyone can understand the effects of that. We got vampire survivors experimenting with the weapons and upgrading them. There's just shit that goes everywhere on the screen when you get up there, and it's so fun and very good replay moments with that and different combinations as well. Hades and boosting your gourd stacking abilities and seeing how strong, how quick you can move and the damage that you can do. And with the Binding of Isaac, your tears and seeing what you can do with your different builds. Mother's kitchen knife, that's crazy with the builds on that, and seeing different combinations and different synergies out there, like very crazy. Roguelikes give you the power of fantasy before you even get bored, and it's really fun on that, doing that as well. Just hits the nail on the head. It always gets you going. The thing I want to talk about is my mission campaign that I want to shine a bit on. I posted on Instagram a short reel about it. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, go do so. And because I'll be keeping content up about it, about my podcast and other things as game related as well on there as well. We love indie mission, where I want to shine a light on indie studios that don't really get recognized, don't really get high numbers, or they're just starting out on early access, or they want to just explore their creative flow. Even if they have big numbers, I would still like to interview you guys because I want to know what sparked that idea, what sparked you to make that game. Where did you start? Did you start when you were 16? Did you start when you were 25? Did you start in your mid-30s in game development? I want to know where you started, where you come from, where you came from, what made the passion spark. And I also want to talk about games that people don't really hear about because it's like, oh, they got 5 views. And I just want to boost the support and make people feel like their passion project is really pushing the mark out there and they feel heard. They feel like this work means a lot to me and it's amazing and it just makes my day. So eventually I want to have interviews with content creators. If you're a digital content creator making games, or if you're making board games and that as well, or if you're just a hired person that you've been working as contract in different indie titles as well. I want to hear your story, your life, your experience, and where you've come from. So if you're an indie developer listening to this podcast and you have some roguelikes that you've been working on or roguelites, I want to hear it. And I want to have you talk about it with me so we can document your journey and the world that you have created for everyone. I got some bonus roguelikes for some titles that are out on Steam so you can go play. You got Rogue Legacy 2, Tiny Rogues, Death Must Die, Astral Ascent, Risk of Rage 2, Void Ego, Nuclear Throne as well. And I think everything is Crab is one that's coming out this year. I am sure of it. I'm pretty sure you can sign up for a playtest on Steam for it. I think that's a good one to check out if you want a new roguelike for this year. I think it's a really good concept with mutations and different synergies, and your character changes, and you've got different animal parts and that. So I think it's a really good idea with that. I think it would be good. Thank you, my explorers, to listening to my podcast about roguelikes and roguelikes for the indie studio, the big numbers, the big dopamine, the infinite possibilities, how indie studios really love just starting in this genre. Some do anyway. And I want to know what recommendations or what ones that you like to play in the comments. Share them. Talk about them in the comments. So I would like to start a conversation about that. And I really encourage you guys to join along, subscribe, follow me, and share the likes as well, because it will support me supporting the indie studios and the developers out there. It is going to be a loved community as well. Stay tuned to follow in on the next episode of what we will be talking about, because it will be a world that we will explore together. So you better hop on to your rocket ship and explore the galaxy of the indie studios out there and the games and the titles that they create. This is Michael signing out from the Undiscovered Worlds podcast. See you then.